Hey guys, it's Johnsy here. Welcome back to my channel. As you can probably tell straight off, there's something a little bit different with the audio, and this is because I'm now recording this after the event, so the video and the audio aren't syncing up together, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'll just explain what went on, and then I'll get into the results of how I got on with my mod 1. Okay, so just before I went in to do my test, my instructor said to me, about having the camera on the bike helmet. He said they might be a bit funny with it. Even though it's turned off, there's a possibility you could be filming it in their eyes. So I said to Eddie, okay, well, I'll just take it off. It's not a problem. And I did. So as I unscrewed the little screw mechanism, it snapped. So there was nothing for the screw to go back into, so I wouldn't be able to screw it back on again. I was just like, oh, this is just all I need. I'm already nervous about the exam, and I've just broke the little cradle thing on the side of the bike helmet. So you've probably seen it by now with the video. But on the way back, I just had to get a little screw on the end of it just to hold it so it doesn't fall off completely, but it keeps falling backwards. So I was just like, that's a great start. And then when I did the test itself, I'd forgot to put the earpiece back in, so that was dangling down by my legs. I'm just like, oh, no way, this is bad. So I had to stop the test for about 2 minutes whilst I got the earpiece and took my gloves off and shoved it in my pocket. I mean, to be fair, the guy who took me for the exam was really understanding. He's like, did you forget to put that on? I was like, yeah, can you tell? And he just laughed at me when you go on, sort it out, you're okay. No minors for that. The minors are coming. So, okay. Why have I got to record the audio again? That's because some stupid idiot decided to not put the microphone back in on the way home. So I've done all this once and got halfway home and realised I haven't plugged the mic in. My head was all over the place. It was an early start. I was nervous from doing the test. I was all over the place. That's all I can say. So I've had to come back and re-record everything. So here we are. Okay, so let's go on to the test. Now, there's another guy who came over with me. He went out first. He was the first one of the day. It was obviously early morning, and the courtyard didn't have frost on it. They went out and checked it beforehand, but it was still a bit of dew on it, and it was a little bit slippery. When he came to do his emergency stop, or controlled stop as they call it, I think, he ended up locking the back wheel up on the bike, which is an instant fail. So he came back to the gates, and my instructor said, God, that was quick. Why has he finished that so quick? And he said, that's not good. So when he came out, he went through it with him and said, yeah, you've locked the back wheel up. Obviously the test can't continue. And the lad was saying to me, he said, I don't know what happened. He said, I didn't even notice it slid. He said, I don't think it did, but that's what they're saying. I'm like, well, they're obviously looking over these sorts of things, aren't they? So I actually turned around to him and said, when I go in, I'm going to be dead careful on that emergency stop. Even though I know how to do them really well, I'm just going to allow myself more time to brake on it, so that I don't do the same mistake. Because I'm like, if it's slippery out there and all it takes is a bit too much pressure and that back tyre locks up, it's game over, it's done. If you take a bit too long to do the emergency brake and the distance is a bit too long, you get a minor. I was like, I'd rather have a minor than have a fail. So I actually said, I'm not gonna really press in hard. I'm just gonna make sure it's a fully controlled stop, and I can do it much better than that, but I'm not gonna allow it. So anyway, we got on to doing the test, and Starts off fine. You have to take the bike off the stand and wheel it round from one bay into another. So think of like a car parking bay. You come out of one, reverse it round into the other. Job's a good one. Then I had to do the figure of 8 and the slalom. If anyone doesn't know what this is, basically you're going in between cones, swerving, and then you get to the ends of the cones and you make 2 figures of 8. If you're looking down at the tarmac, it'll look like a number 8. That's what we've got to do. Yeah, so got through all them fine, not a problem. They were the ones I wasn't concerned about. After that, it was on to the slow control, which is essentially a walking pace. The instructor walks along and you've kind of just got to use your clutch and your brake and a bit of acceleration, like in equal measures, and just make sure you don't put your feet down and just ride along for about 10 yards. So that was fine, that was easy enough. After that was the turn in the road, which is just a U-turn. Check your mirrors, away you go. Check your mirrors before you do your final turn. And you've just got to do it within 2 lines. You've got to make sure that you don't touch the lines, otherwise it's a minor. Again, not a problem. I wasn't concerned about this. What I was worried about was my speed exercises, because I'm not a fast rider, as I keep banging on. I'm not really into like having to accelerate and stuff, you know. It's not that I'm uncomfortable with it, it's just not something I do. The first one, you've just got to do a controlled stop. That's dead easy, 20 mile an hour, and just stop within a box, not a problem. The next one was the emergency stop, and that's the one I was a little bit concerned about. Obviously the other lad had a bit of an incident and failed from that. So I was kind of like, oh, just don't do the same. Just don't do it. So I spun round, got it up to speed, did the stop, and obviously I knew straight away. I was like, I've overshot that a bit. But I don't mind, because unless you go too much, they don't get the tape measure out and measure it. I was quite happy with that. And then we came to the last exercise, which was the one I was worried about the most, and I don't really know why, because I do it daily on the roads, so it's not a biggie at all. But obviously under test conditions, the pressure of it gets to you a little bit, and this one did. So this is hazard avoidance, and what you've got as you're driving along, or riding along should I say, there's a couple of cones which are set up with speed sensors in them, and that's how they know you've got up to 32 mile an hour. They use that for the emergency stop as well. You've got to be doing over 30 mile an hour, and when you're doing that, once you've gone through that speed trap, there's another set of cones to the right hand side, and you've got to go in between them and then come up to a stop at the very end in between the box. Straightforward. So I have my first go, get round and go, you do like a half circle. So it came round on the half circle. I just switched off for some reason. I was just thinking about the emergency stop thing still. And I rode through the speed trap, and I just thought to myself, I didn't even attempt to get that up to 30 mile an hour there. Really, just rode along, ambled along as if I would on any normal road. And as soon as I stopped, I can't believe I've just done that. And he said to me, I'm going to have to ask you to go back round there. You didn't get to be on it. I know, straight away. It's like, on it, totally. So I've got one more chance now. I was just like, can't believe I've just blown that first chance. So my head starts going a little bit, and I'm like, oh no. I've done the whole test perfect, and I've got to the last exercise, and I'm going to blow it. So I go back round, semicircle again, come out of that, and this time I just hammer it just as fast as I can, basically, you know, in second gear, and swerve around the cones. Fine. If you touch any of the cones, game over. You've failed the test. And the landing, the stop was a bit skew. If I ended up on an angle back in the bay, and I thought, oh, crap. I'm not sure whether I've done this or not, or whether there's a fault, because if that's the case, it's done. You're not getting any more goes. That's it. It's over. And he comes over and he says, I'm not going to ask you to do that again. If you can just make your way over to the gate. And my heart sank. I just went, I don't believe it. I've just arsed it up on the last exercise. I was literally millimeters away from passing it. Can't believe it. Can't believe I've just thrown that away. It was like... So in my head then I'm like, okay, I've got a couple of weeks till the mod 2. I'll have to rebook the mod 1 now. Do another quick recap on the bike and then get back out again. So I'm thinking, when can I do it? What weekend can I do it? It's all going through my head. And we eventually get back inside and he said to me, do you want your instructor with you in the room? I thought, oh Christ, there we go, I failed it. So I said, you might as well, yeah, come in. So Ed came in with me and he said, right, okay, you've passed. I was like, really? I wasn't expecting that at all. And he said, yeah, you've got one minor. And he said, you controlled stop, your emergency stop. He said the distance was a bit too much on it. He said you bit into the bike but not enough to compress the front handlebars down. And I said, being dead truthful, I said, with the other lad failing before for skidding, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't putting the bike down. I said, so I didn't go for it the way I normally would. I said, I did deliberately back off. I even said before the test, I don't mind taking the minor for it. So yeah, I got through it. Hey, I've done it. I've just got the mod 2 to do now. It's a lot more nervous for that than I thought it was going to be. It's really, really weird. Like, I've passed it before. I know exactly what the test is. I ride all the time. I've got 10 more years experience on the roads than I did last time I did it. My lessons yesterday, I was having a brain fart moment. I was just making stupid mistakes. I did the emergency stop and left in the third gear and tried to pull away and stalled. I'm like, what am I doing? You know, just basic errors. And I was like, oh. I ended up doing my last lesson. I'm thinking, I feel worse about it than before my first lesson. You know, I did my first lesson, I've obviously done the video, felt dead confident. And then did the second lesson, yeah, great. And the third lesson, I don't know what it was, just maybe lack of sleep or something, but yeah, I was horrified. I was like, oh, this is just gonna be bad. But anyway, it's done. I'm done. That's all that matters. I can have a relax now and just get myself ready. Motorbikes. Wonder where they're going. Yeah, so I can have a little relax now. I've got a couple of weeks before the mod 2 test. I know it sounds weird, but I'm not as concerned about the mod 2 test because it's just riding on a road, you know, and I do that all the time. So I'm like, as long as I make sure I don't do the stupid stuff, it's not like I'm yeah, the maneuvers are the harder ones because you make a slight mistake and you fail. Whereas you make a slight mistake on the mod 2, unless it's something really ridiculous, you're not failing, you might just get a minor for it. So he says this now, I'm going to fail it on something stupid like, you know, running a red light or something like that. Oh Christ, I've just cursed myself, haven't I? Anyway, dudes, I am going to go and I will speak to you all soon. I've got some more stuff coming up, so as soon as that's up, I'll have a chat with you. Take it easy, look after yourselves, I'll see you all later. Ta-da!